The monthly game update for Zwift for April 2021 has landed, and to me, it's an indication that Zwift this month are in maintenance mode, with one new feature coming out of FutureWorks into the main product, and more bug fixes than you can poke a spoke at. But first up, last week Zwift announced they would be making changes to ZwiftPower, so rider height and weight would no longer be publicly displayed. The intent here was to protect users who don't want that information on display. Now, there's a number of scenarios where having this information displayed in public isn't a good thing, and it really isn't necessary if people just want to get on their bike or go for a run on a virtual platform. Rider height and weight is still a key element that Zwift will always use in-game to calculate your in-game speed and performance. It just wouldn't be on show for everybody to view and to track. Sure, you can still calculate somebody's weight from their raw power and their watts per kilo, but look, let's be honest, if you're snooping that level of detail without good reason, it might be time to get yourself a new hobby. The intent here was good, but the proposed changes just didn't quite hit the mark. There was no indication that community race organisers or administrators would be granted access to these metrics, which can be used to detect people who are cheating, changing their weight, changing their height in-game, so they could be removed from the race results. Now, the forums lit up on this one, and there were a good number of points made by a few key community members. Zwift have listened and they've backpedaled on this one for now on the ZwiftPower side of things. To quote Zwift on this one, "We have agreed to pause the change while we develop tools that deliver greater transparency to Zwift racing while promoting wellness. So for the time being, height and weight will still remain visible on ZwiftPower." So that's where things are at with that. Now, my take on this, well, I'm not registered with ZwiftPower, so that solves that one. Secondly, addressing cheating doesn't happen after the event has taken place. People who have dropped their weight or height or whatever they do can still influence race outcomes. Case in point. Okay, let's move on to today's update. So, no HUD mode or hide display mode. This has always been a preference hack since day zero that could be performed by anybody. I covered this back in December 2017 on a Zwift tip, and it was first officially introduced into Zwift as a FutureWorks feature back in May 2020. Today, it rolls into the game as an everyday feature. The notes on this one are: ever wanted to experience worlds in their most natural state? Get more immersed into the sights and sounds of the game without the display? Well, now you can with a simple press of a button in-game and on in Zwift Companion and on in. Hide display mode can be activated in most situations in Zwift with a few exceptions. Zwifters cannot hide the display in workout mode, either solo or group, or turn on the display for hide display event types. To hide the display on Zwift, it's a simple press of the H key on Mac and PC, or you can use the action bar on touchscreens or other systems and press the icon. It's also available to toggle on or off in the Zwift Companion app. If you are using the Companion app, you'll still have all the information displayed there on screen. So it's a good way to clean up your main screen and have all your data off to the side, if that's how you have your Zwift set up. Although the Companion app doesn't show your current gradient. My use cases for this are two of those that I can come up with. When the group chat becomes too noisy on screen, if I'm just riding along, doing my own thing, and people are talking about latest recipes or bonking or saying hi from Ohio, except I can just press H and go about getting my ride done without all that noise on the screen. On live streams, this can clean up the screen, and I'll have the Companion app down in the side to make things look a little better for that too. Now, in addition to this, I would love to see a HUD scaling mode. I use a 4K screen, and at the moment, all the elements on screen can pretty much be seen from outer space. I'd love a 50% scaling to move those title bars up and smaller and everything off to the side so I can see more of the 3D world and not be hit with all the information that is just taking up way too much real estate on screen. Look, hiding the HUD may also be useful for those using other training apps to control your trainer and who are using Zwift for the visual distraction during those workouts. So not really a new change this month, but rolling a FutureWorks feature into the main product. Okay, other changes this month. There wasn't that many. There were a new set of workout of the week workouts rolled out. So if you're looking for just something to do to jump on and go, I believe on a Wednesday they're doing those as group workouts too. So keep an eye out for that. And there are an absolute ton of fixes there that are extensive. Yeah, as I said, I think it's maintenance mode this month. Now, unfortunately, there's no mention in these fixes of a total fix for the 404 or forbidden error that a lot of users are being faced with when loading up Zwift in the last few days. I almost missed the start of Tour of Watopia Stage 5 with this one myself. For me, on a Windows PC, I jumped into the IE preferences even though I do use Firefox on that machine. It's using the system browser for my Zwift login. I cleared all the cache, cleared the browser history, and re-logged in, and things seem to work. Not sure that's a fix that works for everyone, but this has caused a few problems in the last week with Zwifters. Okay, so there we are, my roundup of the April 2021 updates from Zwift. Fingers crossed they've got something coming next month. They're pushing up against the Northern Hemisphere summer where people are riding outdoors. They're gonna have to give us something to keep us riding inside. Stay tuned.